She said she wanted to speak her truth, and what a story she told.
I experienced a consistent and sustained effort by many people within the government to seek to politically interfere in the exercise of prosecutorial discretion.
It started in September. She says the first person to cross the line was the Prime Minister.
At that point, the Prime Minister jumped in, stressing that there is an election in Quebec and that, quote, I am an MP in Quebec, the member for Papineau.
It was the September 17th meeting the Prime Minister has referenced before. Trudeau says he used it to reassure Wilson-Raybould that she would make the final call on SNC-Lavalin. She views it differently.
I was quite taken aback. My response, and I vividly remember this as well, was to ask the Prime Minister a direct question while looking him in the eye. I asked, quote, are you politically interfering with my role, my decision as the Attorney General? I would strongly advise against it, end quote. The Prime Minister said, no, we just need to find a solution.
The hunt for a solution continued long after she stood her ground. A series of 10 meetings, 10 phone calls, plus texts and emails she says were too much. The Finance Minister worried about job losses. Advisors in the Prime Minister's office who repeatedly urged her to seek outside legal advice in the hope she would change her mind.
In my view, the communications and efforts to change my mind on this matter should have stopped. Various officials also urged me to take partisan political considerations into account, which it was clearly improper for me to do so.
By December 5th, she was fed up. She met with the Prime Minister's top advisor, Gerry Butts.
I wanted to speak about a number of things, including bringing up SNC and the barrage of people hounding me and my staff. He said I needed to find a solution.
From there, she says it escalated. On December 18th, her Chief of Staff, Jessica Prince, met with Gerry Butts and the Prime Minister's chief, Katie Telford, a meeting her chief detailed in text messages.
Gerry said, quote, Jess, there is no solution here that does not involve some interference, end quote. Katie was like, quote, we don't want to debate legalities anymore, end quote. They keep being like, we aren't lawyers, but there has to be some solution here.
The very next day, Wilson-Raybould got a call from Michael Wernick, Canada's top civil servant. Wernick told her the Prime Minister was determined to get SNC-Lavalin a deferred prosecution agreement.
He said, quote, I think he is going to find a way to get it done, one way or another. So he is in that kind of mood, and I wanted you to be aware of it.
In his testimony last week, Wernick says nothing crossed the line.
So I can tell you with complete assurance that my view of those conversations is that they were within the boundaries of what's lawful and appropriate.
Clearly, their lines are different.
Within these conversations, there were expressed statements regarding the necessity of interference in the SNC-Lavalin matter, the potential of consequences, and veiled threats.
After her conversation with the clerk, Wilson-Raybould didn't hear from anyone in the Prime Minister's office until January 7th. That's when she was told there would be a cabinet shuffle, and she was being moved.
I will not go into details of this call or subsequent communications about the shuffle, but I will say that I stated I believe the reason was because of the SNC matter. They denied this to be the case.
So, David, this testimony was detailed. I'm sure some would consider it damaging, but there were things that she didn't say.
Yeah, that's right, Ian. She testified for nearly, 4 hours, and she says she still has things to say. The issue is that cabinet confidentiality still applies to her time as Veterans Affairs Minister and since she quit cabinet. So she can't tell us about her 3 conversations with the Prime Minister in Vancouver before she quit cabinet. She won't tell us the reason she quit, and she won't tell us the details of the presentation she gave cabinet a week ago. But what she told the committee today was that she feels she has relevant information to share from those events that would be helpful for all of us in trying to understand this story, and that she would be happy to come back and testify again if she can get the permission she's looking for. So all in all, Ian, not a good day for the government, especially when you say, oh wait, there's probably more. But if there is one semi-positive thing you can take from this for the government, is that Wilson-Raybould says nobody broke the law here. She was asked multiple times if she thought a crime had been committed through the application of this pressure. She said no, it was not illegal, it was simply improper, and after all, she was the Attorney General when this happened.
There is that. David Cochrane in Ottawa. Thank you.
You're welcome.